Hello everyone, this is Locko S, and welcome to Star Citizen, and especially this year's IAE Expo, held at Tobin Expo Center in Microtype. So, for those of you who don't know what the IAE is, IAE, or the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, is basically both an in-game and in real life ship sale, where every single ship in Star Citizen becomes available. Um, if it's in-game and available to fly around and use, it becomes available in Tobin Expo Center to rent, and you'll for free, by the way. So you'll be able to go into the in-game Tobin Expo Center, walk around, walk up to a ship, rent it, and then after that, be able to try it for free in-game for a period, I believe, of 24 hours at least. And then after that, you can basically decide to rent it again the next day, or you can go online and purchase it with real life money. Now, you don't obviously have to rent it before you purchase it with real life money, but that is a big tip and one we will be getting back to later. So, the real life store, like I mentioned, has a lot of stuff for sale at this time that's not normally on sale. So, Star Citizen doesn't have every single ship available to buy year round. There are basically only a couple of ships that are available to buy year round, and they're usually like the lower end, quote unquote lower end starter ships. A lot of the starter ships are actually can be pretty good and useful. So to say that they're cheap or useless doesn't mean anything, because the larger ships have their own problems, and we'll get to those later. So it is now, when it's held is fairly interesting, because it is held at it's going to be held starting next Friday, November 17th, and it's going to run until November 30th this year. More importantly, and this is an important time to keep in mind, 11 a.m. Eastern Seaboard Standard Time. So 11 a.m. EST on Friday the 17th is when IAE actually opens up to the public. So they're going to open up the in-game, they're going to open up the convention center floor to everyone, and then on the website, they'll open up the web store for the first ship manufacturer. Now, 11 a.m. is important to remember, because at 11 a.m. each day throughout the expo, a new manufacturer will be added to the floor. So what's going to happen is, and how the expo halls work, is at 11 a.m. on Saturday, a new manufacturer will be added to the floor in the other hall. So there's the Apex Hall and the Zenith Hall. So a new manufacturer will be added in on Saturday to the Zenith Hall at 11 a.m. And then that means then on Sunday at 11 a.m., the first day's manufacturer will leave, and a new manufacturer will come in on the Apex Hall. So you will have basically every other day a new manufacturer shows up, and each manufacturer is only available to rent from for 2 days. So keep in mind that if you're a ship manufacturer that you're really interested in, make sure you visit them in that two-day window that you got. And keep in mind, if you have anything you want to do, because this is a busy holiday season, you might want to try to see about trying to work it in just a schedule. Even if you're like, you log in like a minute after 11 a.m. Eastern Seaboard Time on that day and just like go in, look around real quick, and then get back out to your holiday stuff. So do keep that in mind. That being said, on the quote unquote real life web store, all of the ships, once a ship manufacturer goes on sale, it just stays on the website. So first day they're going to sell alien ships, and there's a schedule, and they posted a schedule online that goes over each day and what's on for sale. And I should probably mention it's CIG. They are creatures of habit like all of us, and the first day of the expo, and who's quote unquote normally the sponsor of the expo. This year doesn't really have a dedicated sponsor, but it kind of does. what they explore the universe of possibilities. It's clearly aliens. The aliens on day one, the day one manufacturer always has a new ship for sale that's straight to flyable. So highly recommend day one. If you want to try, before you buy the straight to flyable ship, rent it in person to make sure it works. Make sure it works for you and it's good for you, whatever it turns out to be. Second thing to note is that then the last ship manufacturer of the Expo is a concept sale. So that's going to be RSI this year. So expect an RSI concept sale. So those are the two new ships that usually appear at they usually keep the two quote-unquote new ships at the very beginning, at the very end of the Expo. Good news is that there are ships that were previously in concept that are going to be released throughout the Expo. So keep an eye out for that. I do believe like the Argo SRV and the Crusader C1 are going to be quote-unquote released in this patch. So you'll be able to have fun with them and use them in-game. So it's not just ships that they've kept quote-unquote straight to flyable that they kept hidden from us. There also are ships that have completed their development phase and they're ready to be released to us in-game, and they like to release those sometimes. And they try to like to release them around ship sales, although if it's available and it's a patch and it's not anywhere near a ship sale, they'll release it then. So that's good news here. So we've left the train station down below, and how you get to the IAE in-game is the IAE is, like always, in like the past couple of years, held at the New Babbage Expo Convention Center. Now, actually, I should go back down there because there is a map. If you've played this game before, or the past couple of the past patch cycle or two, and you have your character in game, I highly recommend to get to Microtech before the convention starts. That way, you're there, and that way you don't have to fuss around to try to get to Microtech while the convention's going on, because the spaceport gets busy as people are trying out new ships. So anyways, if you've never been to Microtech before, this the New Babbage spaceport is at the edge of the city. So, and it's right here's the actual spaceport, and then that's the train, and then this train station is down here. But you'll take the train from the New Babbage out, and you'll want to go past. You'll take the you'll go heading towards the Commons, skip the Commons stop, and head to Tobin. If you decide to set your spawn at New Babbage, or you already have your spawn at New Babbage, you'll spawn here, obviously, at Aspire Grand, and you'll take it to the Expo Center right there. That's a very simple, easy way to do it. Setting your spawn to New Babbage, by the way, is recommended, because that way all of your in-game items and everything will just be here at one spot. And if you are coming to New Babbage from somewhere else in the verse, I highly recommend that you take whatever, like pack up whatever ship you want to, full of all your needed items or items that you normally use, and make sure they're here in New Babbage's local inventory, so that way you're not missing out on anything. There are stores here, by the way, at New Babbage, but they may not have a whole lot of certain things that you want. For instance, New Babbage is kind of notorious for lacking armors, and you don't want to necessarily have to leave to get them. Although, recently they did add a Kelto store, that has basic armor and flight suits for you to wear, so not all is lost. Anyways, once you get down off the train and you make your way up here to the show floor, you have the show floor here, a nice little lobby. You can wait for your friends here, or you can go to the actual expo halls and wait for them there. Ship manufacturers have all their swag on either side. This is a relatively cheap purchasable extra on the web store, and if you do that, you can either buy a single manufacturer's hat and shirt, and that way you'll keep them year round, patch to patch, or you can buy basically all the manufacturer's swag, and you'll get all the shirts for all the different manufacturers in one package. Also, IAE has their own hats and shirts for you if you want them. So, go to the elevators here, and let's see here. Let's go Apex. Let's see if Apex hull is changed. Alright, here we go. So, IAE, theme this year for colors is purple and white. Again, because representing alien manufacturers. So, there we go. Is it? Alright. So it did change on me, which is good. So, this is, for instance, an example of what the Drake Hall is going to look like. They might do some minor changes in between now and the next patch, by the way. But usually this is what they keep it as. There is a map, by the way. Like those structures are maps, and you can use them to navigate around the I-8 Expo Hall to see what halls are available. But keep in mind that for at least the PTU patch, that looked blank, mainly because they like to try to keep any spoilers from appearing on the maps. If you need food or drink, by the way, indicated either by a leaf and some hexagons for nutrition or some water droplets for new hydration, they do actually have these little storage stalls here in the IAE.
If you want some more details on what we have in stock.
And we can just go ahead and eat there and drink, get your food and water here to keep yourself going, because it'd be kind of embarrassing to die of starvation or dehydration at an expo center. Let's not do what some of us do at anime cons and like not eat all day or not drink all day. So, just showing, by the way, some of like the side halls here. See, let's go to the Buccaneer here. Go to the Buccaneer. So, keep in mind that if you're unfamiliar with the ships of Star Citizen, and honestly there are a lot of them, so it's easy to like forget where certain entrances and exits are. There is an option in the menu to there's an options menu in the menu, and you can go ahead in here. I believe it is in either game settings or controls. Let's see here. I believe it's actually closer up here. There's an option to show let's see here. Here it is at the very top. Ship entry labels enabled. You can disable. I disable it for my normal playthroughs, but I'm just going to leave them enabled here, because these ship entry labels will point to you where the actual doors of the ship are. So if you're unfamiliar with a ship, you can walk up there, and it'll show you where you need to start selecting the interaction mode to actually interact with the ship, to enter it, open the ladder, do things you can do. For instance, open pilot canopy. And obviously you have to actually hit enter ship to actually enter it, but you can do that and you can actually look at it. You can actually see the cockpit and ladder open. You can enter the cockpit, stuff like that. So that's important to know, because if you try to click on a section that's not the canopy on these ships, you'll see that the Drake Buccaneer comes up on the bottom left-hand side, and that's because it's thinking that you're trying to rent it. So you can go ahead and if you actually want to go ahead and rent a ship to actually fly around, go ahead, hold down F, put your mouse over the ship and hit rent, and you'll have that ship rented out. So that's how you rent out ships, and you want to know that as a skill, because it's now that time of the video where we're going to go over tips for IAE. And your number one tip for IAE is, before you buy a ship on the store, if it's available to fly inverse, rent it and fly it inverse if you've never rented it and flown it inverse before. If you have rented it in the verse before and flown it around and you know you want to buy it, go ahead. But just don't go ahead while you have the option to try your ships out for free here. Definitely always take that option, because you never know if the ship still works, if the ship has a bug that you can't tolerate. That way you'll be able to find those out then and there. If this is the ship fun to fly, does it require more crew than you think it is? You're not going to be able to fly it solo. You can answer a lot of questions just by trying out the ships for free and actually experimenting with them. So we have another Drake haul here, by the way, of all the cutlasses and the vulture. So keep in mind, definitely try before you buy. Second tip is, if you don't have a game package, you can definitely try out all the ships you want here, including the starter ships. And really, as much as people say that you can spend a lot of money in Star Citizen on like buying a whole crap ton of ships, I would say you could buy. I would definitely say, definitely as a starter, if you're starting out on Star Citizen, just buy a good starter ship, because that way, you're not too heavily invested. If you don't like the game, or you can use the money to buy an improved PC rather than buying a whole bunch of ships. Do that instead. Definitely Star Citizen, all you really need is a starter ship to enjoy a lot of gameplay loops. So just definitely picking up the right starter ship will take you very far. And you don't have to worry that about having any regret from buying a extremely big, large ship. Because point number 3 I want to make is, with the larger ships, a lot of them require crew to be fully functional. In fact, let's showcase this ship here. So up here we have Drake starter ships, the cutter, and it's a single-person ship, limited cargo space, has a bed, has some stuff to take, has some other facilities and the like you can use. But that's just a single-person ship, and the problem is you're going to be way more effective as a single player in a single-player ship than you are as a single player in a massive ship like the Caterpillar here. Just to give you a sense of scale, I'm going to go ahead and put myself here. Like, I am at the very back end of the ship, and the nose of the ship is right there. This is a huge ship, and 2 of the ship's defensive turrets, one located down here, and another located at the top of the ship up there, they are only able to be operated by a crew member actually in the turret itself. So you're losing out on a lot of defensive firepower by only having yourself as the pilot trying to fly this. Without gunners, you're going to suffer. If you do get engaged, you're definitely going to have a harder time fending those people off. So keep in mind, sometimes with Star Citizen, especially if you don't intend to play with other people, smaller ship like the cutters are better. And you can find higher tier single player ships, or you can find higher tier ships that are bigger but can be easily crewed by a single person, with the option to then bring on a second person later as need be. There we go. So go up here into the Drake Caterpillar, one of the older ships in the game. So I walk around. So something to note also about ships is that they are very much specific to roles. So while you can get multi-role ships, if you really do want to enjoy a certain role, you're definitely going to want to get a ship that is well suited for that. For instance, if you like mining, if you run a prospector and do mining, you're probably better off. You probably do want to get a prospector, just because sometimes some of the gameplay loops, you can do the hand versions of mining and the hand versions of salvage. It does take quite a bit longer though to do so. So it is something that those are definitely a worthwhile investment as a second ship. And that's the other thing to mention. Second ships. It is highly recommended that, I would say it's highly recommended that if you really like Star Citizen and you're finding yourself like really interested in the game, or you only have a starter ship and you want to actually get more into the game, buying a second ship is not a bad option. I would buy the second ship outright, though. There is a system called CCUing, and I think it's the CCU system that allows you to basically take one ship that you own and transfer it and basically use it as credit towards another ship. However, the problem is that you definitely, if you only own one ship and that one ship blows up, you're basically you don't have any luck. You're basically out of luck because until that ship gets reclaimed, until that ship basically gets its insurance time or a reclaim processed, you don't have any ships. And as much as Star Citizen is a multiplayer game, unfortunately right now it's not in a good state for multiplayer. Hopefully new tech coming in relatively soon will allow more people to play more often, but it's not, as you're definitely at the moment still struggling with sort of like the D&D effect with Star Citizen, where everybody, it's a multiplayer game. It's meant for a lot of people to get together to do something, but gathering all those people up to do something is kind of hard. And lastly, something else last important thing to note about Star Citizen is, while it is tempting to just buy buy more ships, especially if you have once you start collecting like your second or your third ship. After your third ship, I would definitely recommend putting the money less towards ships and more towards PC hardware upgrades if your PC isn't up to snuff, or even saving for eventual PC upgrades. Star Citizen, as the years go on, has been known to get more and more graphics intensive, and really you don't want to have a whole lot of ships on a rig that's going to make all those ships run pretty sluggish. So you definitely want to get a good PC, or even possibly save up money for your next PC, because you never know when your PC parts will start parts might start going. I recently had a problem this past summer where my hard drive started going, and I had to basically buy a whole new two set of hard drives because one hard drive failed, and then another hard drive failed, and then I couldn't basically play any games because I didn't realize that at the time. But the hard drives were basically, even though they were relatively new, were starting to go bad, and they wouldn't actually play the game right. So that is something to keep in mind. As much fun as it is to spend like $400 or $500 on a new ship, $400 or $500 in new PC parts, even if it's sort of an emergency fund for those PC parts, will come in handy more than a $500 Star Citizen ship. Especially, like I said, if it's a larger ship, because then you need to actually find the crew to actually crew it, and that right now isn't isn't the easiest thing to do in the world right now. So that's pretty much it for all my IAE tips, as well as a preview of Drake Interplanetary's haul here at IAE this year. We'll definitely go over this year every single ship haul in detail, my thoughts on all the different ships, when those hauls come up for real. That way we can look at the map, get some ideas, because you never know what they might sneak in. As much as the leakers have leaked stuff, you never know. Always a surprise. So, with that, I will say this has been Lock OS, everyone. And make sure you gird your wallets for CitizenCon. Have fun. Definitely, if you have your player character in-game, I would recommend right now taking your player character, taking a ship, like a starter ship or some small cargo ship or some other ship that has inventory in it, or an inventory grid, loading it up with whatever supplies or gear that you like to carry with you at all times, and get over to New Babbage, unload it, have your character ready to go for IAE Day 1, and rather than that, again, make sure you rent ships out for the Expo. Before you buy, try before you buy. Keep in mind, you really only need one ship to play Star Citizen. Having a second one or a third one isn't a bad idea, but Make sure that you're not going too crazy with what you're spending on those ships, especially because then you start getting into bigger ships that you might not be able to crew all the time. And really, beyond that, after 2 or 3 ships, I don't know. I wouldn't recommend, unless you really love a ship, I wouldn't recommend owning more than 2 or 3 ships for Star Citizen. After a while, it's just keep in mind, keep your wallets tight. They have a habit, credit cards have a habit of losing money around this time of year with Star Citizen. So just keep tight. Think before you buy. But if you like a ship, you try it out, you love it, and you don't have that many ships, go ahead and treat yourself. So, with that all being said, this is Lock OS signing out from IAE, and I hope you have a good IAE and you enjoy all the ships that are available to try. See you all on Friday, November 17th in New Babbage, where I will be hopefully posting a video showcasing the alien ships that are being released. And keep in mind, website does actually have a schedule posted. So all the manufacturers and their days are posted online right now. So you can go ahead and see what's there. So until then, see you in the verse.